Most of the people in charge of your life are idiots. You heard me, idiots. You're not living under the rule of geniuses, visionaries, or masters of strategy. No, you're ruled by cowards, liars, and self-obsessed clowns who would sell their soul for 5 minutes of fake applause. If you've ever looked around and thought, how the hell did these fools get to the top? You're not crazy. You're waking up. Because here's the brutal truth. Mediocrity rises when real strength stays silent. And Machiavelli, centuries ago, knew this better than anyone. He watched kings fall because they were too soft. He saw bureaucrats manipulate their way into power because nobody had the guts to stop them. And he understood something terrifying. The crowd doesn't follow the best man. The crowd follows the boldest man. It doesn't matter if you're right. It doesn't matter if you're better. It matters if you seize the game, rig it in your favor, and play it like your life depends on it. Because it does. You're not here for fairy tales. You're not here for a bedtime story about good triumphs over evil, and if you just work hard, you'll be recognized. You're here because somewhere inside you there's a fire burning. The fire that says, I'm meant for more than this. But here's the catch. If you don't understand how power really works, you will lose to people dumber, weaker, and less capable than you. Every time. It's not fair. It's not just. It's reality. Machiavelli wasn't writing The Prince to entertain you. He was giving you the blueprint for survival, the blueprint for domination in a world where justice doesn't exist naturally. Justice is made by those strong enough to enforce it. You think the best man wins? Wrong. The man who understands the rules and has the guts to use them wins. The man who can smile while plotting your downfall wins. The man who can play weak when necessary and strike when it matters wins. Machiavelli said it plainly. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is given when it's convenient. Fear is remembered when it's not. Think about the last boss you hated. The last politician you couldn't believe anyone would vote for. The last leader who couldn't lead a dog on a leash. They weren't better than you. They weren't smarter than you. But they understood one thing you didn't. People follow power, not virtue. And in a world that rewards appearance over substance, the fools who are loud, ruthless, and shameless will often rise faster than the men who actually deserve it. If that disgusts you, good. It should. But don't stop there. Use it. Because the real choice isn't whether the system is broken. The real choice is whether you're going to sit there whining about it, or whether you're going to learn the rules and play to win. In this video, I'm going to break down why the most foolish people end up in power and what you can learn from it to build your own dominance. Not by becoming a fool, but by refusing to be a victim, because the game isn't going away. You either play or you get played. Step 1. Understand that image beats reality. You think people care about the truth? They don't. They care about what looks like the truth. They care about what feels good to believe. This is why fools rise to power. Not because they are competent, but because they are masters of illusion. Machiavelli said it best. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Let that sink in. The average man is too lazy to dig deeper. He sees confidence and mistakes it for competence. He sees loudness and mistakes it for leadership. He sees wealth and mistakes it for wisdom. The truth, most of what you see is a costume stitched together with arrogance and good marketing. If you want to rise above mediocrity, you have to master your image. Not lie. Not fake it. but present your power in a way that demands respect before a single word leaves your mouth. Appearance is not optional. It is weaponized by those who understand human nature. You show up sloppy, hesitant, uncertain. You're finished before you start. You could have the best ideas in the world and nobody will care, because you look like a man who doesn't even believe in himself. You show up sharp, confident, prepared. You could be half as intelligent as the next guy and still crush him because people follow certainty, not IQ scores. You have to decide right now if you want to be invisible or unavoidable. Choose wisely. Step 2. Ruthlessness is more common than genius. Here's another cold truth. Most people in power aren't there because they outsmarted everyone. They're there because they outlasted, outmanipulated, and outplayed everyone. You think the world is a chess match between great minds? It's not. It is a mud fight between ambitious fools who are willing to crawl through filth to sit on a throne made of garbage. They backstab. They lie. They smear. And they win because decent men keep thinking the rules are fair. Machiavelli knew this too. He wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Translation: you must be cunning enough to see deception coming and savage enough to respond with overwhelming force when it does. This world does not reward the polite. It rewards the predator. You do not have to become a monster, but you must stop pretending that monsters do not exist. If you want to build real power, you need 2 weapons. First, a sharp mind that sees through the lies. Second, a savage heart that refuses to be outmaneuvered by weaker men willing to play dirtier than you. The fool who claws his way to the top is not smarter than you. He is simply more willing to get dirty while you stood there wondering if it was fair. Wake up. You can be honorable, but you cannot be naive. Step 3. People want comfort, not truth. If you want to understand why fools get into power, you have to understand the masses. The masses do not want the truth. They want the sweet lie that makes their lazy existence feel justified. They want the leader who tells them, "You are fine, just as you are." Not the one who says, "You are weak, you must change." They will vote for the clown who promises handouts over the builder who demands sacrifice. They will follow the demagogue who offers excuses over the man who demands excellence. And that is why power often falls into the hands of fools, because the fool is willing to tell the masses what they want to hear. Machiavelli wasn't shocked by this. He understood that governing human beings is not about appealing to their highest self. It is about managing their instincts. If you want to rise, you must master this principle. You do not cater to the lowest common denominator. But you must understand it. You must understand that most people will hate the man who holds them accountable, and love the man who flatters their weakness. If you build your power expecting gratitude, you will end up bitter and broken. Build it because you choose to be strong, not because you seek applause. The applause of the masses is as fleeting as the wind. Strength is the only thing that endures. Step 4. Cowardice is mistaken for wisdom. One of the ugliest truths that Machiavelli saw, and that you need to accept, is that cowardice often dresses itself up as wisdom. The fool, who is too scared to act, too weak to fight, too soft to confront real problems, will wrap himself in a cloak of prudence and moderation. He will call his fear strategic patience. He will call his passivity wisdom beyond your understanding. And the crowd, desperate for a leader who will not challenge them, eats it up like starving dogs eating poisoned meat. This is how a spineless man can rise to power. He never threatens anyone's comfort. He never demands anyone grow up. He speaks in endless circles of nothingness. And people, lazy and tired, mistake his emptiness for profound depth. The coward pretends to be careful. The fool pretends to be wise. The masses pretend they cannot see the difference, because deep down, they prefer weakness that demands nothing of them over strength that demands everything. You need to see through this. Do not be fooled by the man who speaks many words but says nothing. Do not be impressed by the man who always hesitates, always defers, always waits for the perfect moment that never comes. Real wisdom is not endless delay. Real wisdom is decisive action at the right time. You must train yourself to recognize the cowards who hide behind fake wisdom. And more importantly, you must refuse to become one of them. If you know what must be done and you hesitate because you fear the price, you are on the path to becoming one of the fools you despise. Courage is not a luxury. It is a requirement. The man who waits for certainty will watch the world burn around him while he composes beautiful essays about why action was too risky. Do not be that man. Act. Step 5. Systems reward compliance, not brilliance. Here is another brutal fact. Modern systems are designed to elevate those who comply, not those who think. Corporations, governments, bureaucracies, they do not want real leaders. They want managers. They want obedient clerks who do what they are told without question. If you sit still, follow orders, never rock the boat, never challenge the hierarchy, you will be promoted. Not because you are excellent, not because you are powerful, because you are safe. This is how fools climb the ladder, not through excellence, but through obedience. The man who questions, the man who innovates, the man who demands real results, he is dangerous to the machine. So the machine spits him out. And it elevates the fool who smiles, nods, and drags the entire system deeper into mediocrity. Machiavelli understood this too. He knew that princes do not always reward the most capable. They reward the most loyal. The ones who pose no threat. The ones who will reinforce their position without ever challenging their weakness. This is why many of the most powerful men in history surrounded themselves with flatterers and fools. Because truth-tellers are dangerous. Because excellence is threatening. You must understand this if you want to build real power. Do not expect systems to reward you for thinking. Expect systems to punish you for thinking. And do not waste your life trying to impress people who fear strength more than they fear failure. Build your own arena. Create your own system. Gather your own loyal warriors, not cowardly clerks. If you wait for the approval of broken systems, you will be waiting. Power belongs to those who can operate outside of permission. Step 6. Most people cannot handle freedom. Here is the final truth that Machiavelli knew and that too many modern men forget. Most people do not want freedom. They say they do. They shout it from rooftops. They post it on social media. They tattoo it on their skin. But when the moment comes to actually live free, to accept responsibility, to face consequences, to bear the full weight of their own choices, they crumble. They do not want freedom. They want the illusion of freedom with the security of slavery. They want a master who feeds them while telling them they are kings. They want rulers who protect them from the brutal reality of life while convincing them they are independent. This is why fools rule. Because the man who promises freedom without responsibility is always more popular than the man who demands both. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago, and it is even more true today. If you want real freedom, you must be ready to carry the full burden of your life on your back. No excuses, no safety nets, no one to blame but yourself. Freedom is brutal. Freedom is terrifying. Freedom requires a level of discipline, strength, and clarity that most men will never achieve. That is why the strong must rule. Because if they do not, the weak will hand the throne to the nearest fool who promises comfort. You must decide right now if you are willing to be free. Because if you are not, you will be ruled. And you will be ruled by men you despise, men you laugh at, men you know in your soul are beneath you. And it will be your fault. Because you chose comfort over courage. You now know the truth. Not the comfortable version. Not the polished lie they sell to the masses. The raw, bloody, undeniable truth. Fools rise because most men refuse to rise. Cowards wear the mask of wisdom because bravery has become rare. Systems reward obedience because true strength is too dangerous to control. The masses scream for freedom while begging for chains. And you are standing in the middle of this battlefield, staring at two paths. The first path is simple. You pretend you did not hear what you just heard. You close this video. You go back to your life. You tell yourself that the system is broken, that it is unfair, and you nod along with all the other bitter men who sit on the sidelines of history. You will watch weaker men rise above you. You will watch fools lead nations, companies, and movements while you rot in quiet frustration. You will become another nameless face in a sea of regrets. The second path is brutal. You accept that the game is rigged. You accept that life is unfair. You accept that fools will rise if you do nothing. And you decide that you are going to become strong enough, ruthless enough, smart enough to claim your place anyway. You understand that you must not only be better, you must be sharper, more calculated, more disciplined, more relentless. You do not just sit back and hope the world notices your value. You shove it down their throats until they have no choice but to recognize it. You do not whine about fools in power. You become the man who builds so much power that fools dare not even whisper against you. You do not cry about how systems reward mediocrity. You build your own systems where excellence is not only rewarded but demanded. You do not rage against cowards hiding behind fake wisdom. You expose them by living as proof that real courage still exists. You do not waste time trying to wake up the masses. You gather the few who are willing to fight, and you move mountains with them. This is not a fair fight. It never was. It never will be. You are not owed victory. You must take it. With your mind. With your spirit. With your bare hands if you have to. The men who win are not the ones who complain the loudest. They are the ones who endure the longest, fight the hardest, think the sharpest, move the fastest. You cannot sit and wait for a mentor to save you. You cannot sit and wait for society to change. You cannot sit and wait for your enemies to become moral. None of that is happening. Ever. What you can do is sharpen yourself until you are a weapon so deadly that nothing they throw at you can stop you. You can become a master of image, a student of human nature, a force of will that bends reality toward your vision. You can become the man who does not cry about fools but leaves them choking in your dust as you build something greater than they can even imagine. You can become the man Machiavelli would have recognized as dangerous. Not because you are evil, but because you are willing to do what needs to be done. Strength, strategy, endurance. These are your weapons now. You must master them or be mastered by those who already have. You must stop waiting for permission. You must stop seeking validation. You must stop dreaming about a perfect world that will never exist. This is the world you have been given. It is brutal. It is unfair. It is magnificent. And it is yours to conquer if you are willing to bleed for it. The choice is yours. Become the man who plays the game to win, or become another casualty of cowardice. There is no third option. You were not born to watch from the sidelines. You were not born to complain while others rise. You were born to fight. You were born to build. You were born to leave a legacy so undeniable that fools and kings alike will have no choice but to remember your name. This is your warning. This is your call. The world does not care about your potential. It only cares about your results. The world does not care about your dreams. It only cares about your domination. The world does not care how badly you want it. It only cares how willing you are to take it. Start now. Start while you are still angry. Start while you still remember how it feels to look around and know that you are meant for more. Forge yourself into a man who does not bow to fools. Forge yourself into a man who rules in a world gone mad. Forge yourself into a man who no longer asks, "Why do fools rule?" but a man who says, "Let them have their stage, while I build the future." Because while they stumble through their empty performances, while they cling to their fragile, borrowed power, you will be building something real, something eternal, something they cannot touch. And when the dust clears, when the weak have fallen, when the fools have destroyed themselves with their own arrogance, you will still be standing, stronger, wiser, undefeated. The time is now. The choice is yours. Take it. By the way, if you are serious about becoming the man you were born to be, show some strength right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay sharp, stay ruthless, stay unstoppable.